The next conjunction we're going to look at is because. So, because can never start a sentence. Because can never start a sentence. Okay? It can only go in the middle of a sentence. You can put it in the middle of a sentence, but it cannot start a sentence. That's kind of bad grammar to put it at the start of a sentence. But these ones here, these 9 conjunctions, these can start the sentence. These can start the sentence, and they are more advanced and more sophisticated. So we're going to look at how we can use these conjunctions. Let's look at how we can use these conjunctions. Okay, now the first 5 here, these 5 here, considering that, given that, in light of the fact that, in view of the fact that, and seeing as, these ones all follow the same structure. So there are always 2 parts to the sentence. So let's look at this one. Considering that I didn't practice, I didn't perform well. So what I'm saying is, because I didn't practice, I didn't perform well. So there are 2 parts to the sentence. The first part, which says, because I didn't practice, and then what's the result? I didn't perform well. So there are 2 parts to the sentence. We always put a comma in the middle, so you can see that there's a comma in the middle. Alright, so there's always 2 parts to the sentence. And it always starts the sentence. You can put it in the middle, but it's just better if you put it at the start. Okay, and there's always a comma in the middle. So all these ones, they mean because. So we looked at this one. Let's look at the next one. Given that I know the manager, I got the job. So what I'm saying is, because I know the manager, I got the job. And we put the comma in the middle. The next one, in light of the fact that I live in the area, I applied for that job. So because I live in the area, I applied for that job. And then you put a comma in the middle. In view of the fact that I didn't understand, I asked my colleagues. So what I'm saying here is, because I didn't understand, I asked my colleagues. And last one, seeing as I knew the job well, they chose me. So because I knew the job well, they chose me. So you should start trying to use these and starting your sentence with because. So because of this, that happened. Let's look at this one here, which is having plus the past participle. Having plus the past participle. And again, there are 2 parts to the sentence. It starts the sentence and there's a comma in the middle. So having done this work before, I found it easy. And remember, when you say I found it, that means I think. When you say I found it, it means I think. So if we look here, we've got having plus the past participle. And you'll see here that there is no subject. We don't say having I done. No, there's no subject here. The subject goes all the way down here. So having done this before, I found it easy. So what I'm saying is, because I have done this before, I found it easy. Okay, the next one, we've got having plus the past participle. Having been sick all weekend, I didn't come to work yesterday. So there's no subject here. It's just the having plus the past participle. The subject goes all the way down here. Okay, the next ones, which is due to, in light of, and in view of. Now, because we've got this preposition here, we have to do verb ing. Okay, we're going to do verb ing. So just put due to and verb ing. And again, 2 parts to the sentence. Start the sentence and comma in the middle. So due to coming late, I didn't understand the instructions. So again, there's no subject here. There's no subject. The subject goes all the way down here. Okay? In light of leaving his USB at home, he couldn't finish his work. So because he left his USB at home, he couldn't finish the work. In view of staying back late, I finished everything. So because I stayed back late, I finished everything. Okay, now I've done all of these in the past, but you can also do it in the present. So you can say, due to coming late, I don't understand. In light of leaving his USB at home, he can't finish the work. Okay, so this one can be the present and it can be the past. It just depends on what you put here. Okay, and remember there's no subject here. No subject. However, these sentences that we just looked at, if you do want to include the subject, you actually need to use the object pronoun. Now this is more common when we speak. Normally we wouldn't do this when we're writing. So this is common for when we are speaking. So due to me coming late, I didn't understand the instructions. In light of him leaving his USB at home, he couldn't finish his work. So if you want to include the subject here, you have to do the object pronoun. But that's more when we're speaking, so I wouldn't really do this when I'm writing. And last, these two, you can use these two in your writing. You can do that, but they're probably more common when you are speaking. Okay, so these words are really good for making your writing more advanced and sophisticated. Okay, so these are really good for using instead of because.